So, gonna review this recovering anorexic lady. I'm glad for her she's recovering. And she's had a little month's special on her YouTube channel about anti-nutrients. And this is her latest one. It's called Managing Phytates on a Plant-Based Diet, plus what I ate today. It's a bit long, so I'm going to skip through some of the bits. But I'm quite intrigued to see how she's managing phytates while remaining on a plant-based diet. Don't know what that is. Okay. Oh my god. Doesn't look too good.
Good morning, guys. So I am on a bit of a mission today. I'm headed up to our property to meet a contractor, and that is going to disrupt my glorious breakfast. So I am working on the rest of my morning water. This is what I drink pretty much every morning. Got my stainless steel iridescent beautiful straw. So fun. And then I have some overnight cold brewed white tea that I'm going to drink as I head over to the property.
We got the standard overacting of that veganism kind of pushes you to do to uphold your unnatural diet. You have to overact more and more to justify, because it's all image and no substance.
So to get us started,
so just like in Hollywood, for example, the image has to be very shiny and la la la. The more you go away from nature.
But it's especially prominent in seeds, like any plant food that can sprout and grow a plant.
That's true.
Beans, whole grains, nuts, seeds. When phytic acid binds with a mineral, it becomes a phytate. And that clues us into the reason that phytates are known as anti-nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
It's because phytic acid has an affinity for binding with essential minerals.
Exactly.
Like iron, zinc, calcium,
and it destroys your digestive system. It punctures holes in your gut.
When these minerals bind with phytic
creates
acid
leaky
to make a
gut
phytate,
and many other
they are
named
no longer available
diseases.
for absorption from our digestive tract. And so if we're consuming a large quantity of food that is quite high in phytates, and if we are relying on those foods to get our essential minerals, we could potentially end up having issues with mineral deficiencies.
Definitely.
Now, I don't know about you, but
She just stated a bunch of facts, and then she's like, potentially. Doesn't make much sense, but
pretty darn seriously. And since a lot of the foods that I eat are beans, whole grains, nuts, seeds, I think it's really important to know more about this.
at least she's looking into it.
Have a fine looking mobile breakfast. As you can tell, there are a lot of fruits on top. 4 or 5 of our little apple bananas. I have some blueberries, mango, and then squished under there is some beautiful
But why
orange
did she
sweet
add all
potato.
the
And then I
seeds
have
to
a
it?
mixture of ground
After
flax
talking
seeds,
about
pumpkin seeds, and
anti-nutrients,
sunflower
they're some of the
seeds
most
on top.
loaded with
These,
them.
of course, do contain phytates, but there are ways that we can limit our exposure to this type of anti-nutrient. Perhaps
Why
the
limit
easiest
it?
and the most
Why
obvious way
manage
to limit the
poisons
effect that phytates
and
can
not
have
actually
on our mineral
remove them
absorption
from your
is to
diet because they're
avoid
unnatural?
really high phytate foods. I don't know how many hundreds of millions of times you've probably heard me say it at this point, but a varied whole plant food diet is the best way to guarantee that you're getting all of the nutrients that you need.
It's every time they go back to this varied whole foods plant-based diet for any issue. Oh, veganism didn't work, you didn't have a varied diet. Sure, that's the way to prolong the malnutrition diet for as long as possible, for sure. If all you eat is one type of anti-nutrient, and you like juice the crap out of spinach and you eat loads of spinach, for example, that's fast track to hospital. But sure, you just prolong the issue. So it's looking like this whole video is pretending that she's offering real information, where she's actually just justifying carrying on with a diet that she's just claimed she knows is full of anti-nutrients, which are poisonous.
And that you're avoiding the anti-nutrients that you don't need.
How are you avoiding them? You're eating seeds as the first thing.
Show the phytic acid contents of various foods, you'll probably notice that some foods are just naturally higher than others. Things like peanuts and soybeans, pinto beans, navy beans, etc. Now this doesn't mean that just because a food has a fair amount of phytic acid in it that you need to absolutely avoid it and take it off the menu permanently.
Why?
It just means that you probably shouldn't base
Excuse
your
me?
diet.
Why? They have no absorbable minerals or vitamins, or a tiny percentage, and they actually inhibit the absorption of the rest of your food. Why on earth would you not consider removing them? It's a bit strange. A whole series of videos to justify the poisons you're eating. It's more odd behavior here by some vegans.
Studies have shown that this small and delicious addition to our cooking can really boost absorption of minerals. And the final way we can limit we cook them. Studies have shown that this small and
Here we go. She's saying to add garlic and onion to your meal, and that will help the absorption. I mean, excuse me? Isn't it obvious that garlic is some of the most potent antibacterial, antibiotic available that wipe out the gut flora, which are doing their good work to actually break your food down and absorb it? It's completely counterintuitive.
Absorption. Probably the most well-known way to activate phytase is through soaking and sprouting high phytic acid foods.
Here we go. I thought she was going to mention this. So I had a whole company that was based on soaking and sprouting nuts, seeds and grains for vegans. Now, sure, if you're going to eat them, you better soak them. That removes a lot of the anti-nutrients, but not all of them. Nowhere near all of them. You're still gonna get digestive problems, and I know for a fact, if you keep consuming soaked grains, seeds and nuts. So it's more justification to uphold her fantasy to begin with, that's unnecessary to begin with. Why do we need to be on a plant-based diet? It's not good for the body. Why do we need to do it?
When we soak whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds, endogenous phytase in the seeds comes or eats. One really effective way to get access to a lot of phytase is through food fermentation. The specific example that really
That's
stands
exactly
out
the
is
same
gut
as soaking
bacteria.
it. It's
Since
just
it is
longer
the decade of the
soaking.
microbiome, obviously our gut bacteria have something to do with it, but I do think it's wise to keep in mind that this is a fairly newly studied area, and we're not really
And
sure
you're the
how
guinea
much
pig, you're the experiment, yeah? I wouldn't do it to myself with the knowledge.
It does appear that the more phytic acid-rich foods that we eat, the more bacteria that produce phytase end up in the intestines. And so that's something interesting to keep in mind. But I am personally not relying on my gut bacteria to save me from phytic
You shouldn't, because you're wiping it out.
Which brings us to the very important question. Is phytic acid actually a problem? Now, certainly, like I've said, huge amounts of phytic acid in the diet could definitely lead to issues with mineral deficiencies. But there is some really interesting research about phytates that I don't think should be dismissed. Research papers like the ones that have found that phytates are potent antioxidants.
Here we go.
Papers like
It's the classic way that they make plants. You know, every day you can see, oh, this herb cures cancer when you put it in a test tube. No shit. The same reason it destroys your digestive system is why it destroys a cancer cell or is an antioxidant, which actually destroys your body. It's endless science terms which are totally meaningless if you're simply eating your natural diet. If you eat what you're not meant to eat, doesn't matter what scientific terms you come up with, it will poison your body.
Well, just don't eat like wackadoodles. In my own diet,
Great
my
advice.
priority is not to avoid phytates 100%. But it's
No
also
shit,
not my
you've already
priority
eaten
to
some.
overeat them. So obviously I
So
do...
she's literally all about managing poison. Why? Why do you need to manage poison?
consume plenty of whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. And I do sometimes try to purposely
So she does
reduce
consume
the phytate
loads of
content
them.
of those foods,
Huh?
but only when it is super convenient for me to do so. As an example, yesterday I thought to myself, gosh, I'd like to cook some chickpeas. So I put those chickpeas in a big bowl, filled them up with water, and they have been soaking for the last about 22 hours.
Come on, this is like the ABC of the raw vegan diet from 15 years ago. You think you found some secret by that it's all gonna be okay if you soak them? It helps, but it only manages the poison. We shouldn't have to manage the poison. It's like building your own prison that you then keep having to do, like to redecorate. Now it's a nice prison.
Last night I thought, geez, tomorrow I might like to have some almonds, and I would like the nutrients in those almonds to be
Doesn't
readily
work.
available.
I'm an expert on the activation of
and because those
nuts
seeds are
and
quite
seeds
small
and grains.
need to be
It
ground
helps,
up in
but it
order
doesn't
to be
solve the
absorbed
problem.
Anyway, I also just don't have the pre-planning capacity or the patience to pre-soak or try to sprout the grains that I eat. That's just like not gonna happen for me.
Okay,
And so
so
in
you
my
don't
personal
do it.
opinion, after reviewing all of the cons and pros of phytates, I have personally decided that I'm not going to worry about reducing my phytate intake all that much. Instead, I just focus on eating a whole plant food diet with a lot of variety of whole grains, beans, nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables, etc.
That's the
And
answer.
that has
It's
been
a
working
whole
just fine for me
grain
for the last
diet.
5 to 10 years. On that note, all of this talking has gotten me kind of hungry. I'm gonna
How
go
do
have
you
lunch.
know it's worked for you? Do you know
Alright, this
what
is going
true health is? I don't know what it is. I'm only just starting my natural diet. See, everyone walks around, especially all these vegans, thinking they know what health is. Just because they haven't dropped dead yet, it's working for her.
to be lunch today. I have some leftover whole grain, gluten-free, oil-free vegan bread. It is whole grain and it was unsoaked, so it's probably quite high in phytates, and I'm okay with that right now. I also have some plain unmarinated cold tofu, which is like, call me crazy, I'm sure someone will. One of my favorite foods.
Oh
like,
my
put me in the
God.
tofu press. Let me die
That's
happy. I put some of my
disgusting.
mustard on top of that, sliced up
Yeah,
soaked
try it without the
almonds,
mustard,
red onions. I
darling.
have some tomatoes hiding in here, and then a little bitty head of lettuce. I'm gonna kind of like smush all of this together and eat it with my hands, and it's gonna be super grotesque, and that's why you guys are not gonna watch me do it. Okie dokie.
I mean,
so this
that
is
is
gonna
a
do me for lunch. I will
digestive
see you
grenade.
guys for dinner. Dinner. That looks like a pretty satisfying
Oh
spread
my
to me.
God.
I made a big old salad out of lettuce.
Chickpeas are the worst. Like, what she ate before was bad, and this is bad. So after a 20-minute talk on Phytates, she goes, "Oh, I don't really give a shit," basically. And I've been eating it and I'm still alive. So here's my meals, Phytate rich. Like, what's the point?
Kale, tomato, carrot, onion, blah 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 blah. It's dressed with black tahini, a splash of apple cider vinegar, a little sprinkle of Mrs. Dash, and a little sprinkle of kelp powder to give me my iodine for the day. I have an orange sweet potato there, a little bed of brown rice, and that brown rice was
There's
cooked
just
with
nothing
onion
in there.
and
There's
garlic
no
to increase the
nutrition.
mineral
There's only
absorption from those
anti-nutrition.
grains.
It is
And
incredible
then I
she's
have my
alive.
pre-soaked
I'll
chickpeas
give
that
you
were
that.
also cooked with onion and garlic. It has a little sprinkle of furikake on top, and then a little bit of sweet chili sauce just to, you know, keep my addiction going. You never leave yet? Are you going?
It's just a load of bulk with sauces and spices on top so you can get it down your throat.
Everybody's just sweating to death right now.
That's not sweat.
Oh,
That's water. It's water.
from your mouth.
He doesn't look very vegan.
After this is going to be everything
for long.
that I ate today. I'm going to chill for the rest of the evening, probably go to bed early because, Lord help me, I did not sleep well last night. I was just a little bit excited and thinking about some stuff. Couldn't quite get
You'll
into
sleep
these.
like a log
Anyway,
if you eat some
thank you
raw
guys
meat.
so much for watching. It has been a joy to talk about phytates today. I hope you all learned so much. Questions
Totally
and comments
useless
are
talk.
welcome down
Utterly
below.
useless.
I will get to those as I'm able, and as always, make better choices for yourself. Are you going to the store now?
Hey, you want to come with me?
No. No one will do it for you, and take really, really good care. I'll see you guys very soon. Bye. Why, you want me to go to the store?
Yeah, I
with
do.
you? Do I look like I want to go to the store? I'm sleepy.
I don't like go to store either.
I mean, it's air conditioned. There's that.
No, don't touch me. You're hot.
Ew, you're sweaty.
I'm not sweaty, dude.
I just touched you. You're
Dude.
Oh, well. That was an utterly useless video. In fact, it's detrimental. Because a bunch of vegans would have heard, ooh, all the talk of anti-nutrients, what all these carnivore guys saying, and then watch that and think, oh, well, yes, she's debunked it now. I mean, she is full of crap, basically. But, yeah, as always, I hope she maybe watches this video or makes a change in her life, because she will feel leaps and bounds better if she starts eating raw animal products.